When the metallic orb now known as the Buga sphere was first reported near the Colombian city of Buga, it seemed to appear out of nowhere, gleaming, seamless, and impossibly precise. Within days, the internet transformed it into a global spectacle. Now, rumors are that quantum AI has cracked the Buga sphere's code. Today, we'll separate fact from fiction. Let's get started. The Buga sphere. In early 2025, news began to circulate of a strange metallic sphere seen over the Colombian municipality of Buga in Valle del Cauca. According to a People magazine report, the object was first observed flying above Buga on March 2, 2025, before eventually descending and being recovered on the ground. Locals later claimed that a farmer named Don Jose had retrieved the sphere after it landed, possibly after interacting with nearby power lines, leaving a scorch mark or small hole in its surface. Over the spring of 2025, the sphere became the subject of multiple viral videos, sensational reports, and a growing community of UFO and esoteric researchers, before any rigorous scientific analyses were published. From the fragmented public statements released so far, the Buga sphere is said to possess several remarkable physical traits. Observers claim it is metallic and displays a seamless outer surface, meaning there are no visible welds, joints, or seams. According to radiologist Jose Luis Velasquez, who is part of a small investigative team, the sphere is constructed in 3 concentric metal layers and contains microspheres embedded within its interior cavity. In one public statement, he claimed there are 9 microspheres inside. The outer shell is sometimes described as extremely thin relative to the total diameter, though precise thickness is not known. Velasquez also emphasizes that no weld seams or joining marks are visible. Some take this to mean that the sphere has not been manufactured. But that's not all. The outer surface bears strange inscriptions or glyphs. Some interpreters suggest these resemble a blend of Mesopotamian cuneiform, Ogham-like runic strokes, or other ancient scripts. Some variant reports claim more than 9 internal microspheres and that the shell density is close to human bone. The sphere is said to weigh approximately 4.5 pounds, though that measurement lacks clear provenance. Some enthusiasts also claim the sphere harbors organic or resin materials aged by carbon dating at around 12,560 years, though that claim appears only on sites like Blackwell Lab. Inside, the sphere is described as multi-layered. The inner structure is not simply hollow, but composed of nested shells, perhaps with varied alloys or densities, and populated by internal microspheres dispersed in a pattern. The interiors are said by some to be of high density relative to ordinary metals. Some claim that when water was poured on the sphere, it instantaneously vaporized or caused a violent response. Because no peer-reviewed scientific journal has published validated mass, size, or compositional analysis, the precise physical constants remain unknown. Interest in the Buga sphere intensified when some began claiming that the sphere vibrates or hums when Sanskrit mantras or Vedic chants are recited nearby. A Times of India article reported that viral videos show individuals chanting in proximity to the sphere, and the sphere apparently emitting measurable vibrations in response. That story quickly went viral, with social media posts claiming the sphere resonates with ancient human languages or spiritual incantations. Some even suggest that chanting altered its internal temperature or induced fluctuation in electromagnetic output. In parallel, other observers claim spontaneous temperature fluctuations at the sphere's surface, or that it sometimes emits faint electromagnetic pulses or fields, detectable by nearby EM sensors or magnetometers. Some rumor threads also attribute a reaction to standard electromagnetic stimuli or claim intermittent low-power radiation emission. The media amplification of the Buga sphere story has been swift and dramatic. Once a handful of viral videos began circulating, tabloid outlets amplified speculative claims of alien origin, inscriptions, chanting responses, and sensational metrics like no welds, inexplicable physics. In mid to late 2025, a few modest scientific efforts quietly began to emerge. Some imaging has been conducted. A press mention states that X-ray or tomographic imaging revealed 3 distinct layers and the internal microspheres. These results, however, have not been published in scientific journals so far. There is also mention of visual and chemical surface analysis, Trace elemental scanning is rumored to have detected exotic alloy signatures or unusual metal mixes, though no laboratory report or elemental table has surfaced publicly. Some anecdotal density tests have been reported. However, none of these tests has been subjected to peer review or released with full instrument logs or calibration data. At present, the lack of peer-reviewed, independently replicated scientific publications is glaring. To put the Buga sphere in context, it helps to compare it to prior famous mystery spheres. The Betz sphere is perhaps the most well-known. Found by the Betz family in Florida in March or April 1974, it measured about 7.96 inches in diameter and weighed about 21.34 pounds. It was hollow with a half-inch wall thickness. The Betzes claimed it responded to guitar notes, vibrated, rolled on its own, and changed direction. The U.S. Navy and other investigators later suggested it was likely a ball check valve or industrial component, citing analogues in chemical plant valves. Skeptoid's later review also noted uneven flooring in the Betz house could explain the apparent self-motion of a nearly perfect sphere resting on irregular surfaces. Another category is the Klerksdorp spheres, a subset of the Ottosdal mystery spheres, found in South Africa in Precambrian pyrophyllite deposits. These objects are small, often embedded in rock, and have been interpreted by fringe authors as manufactured artifacts from ancient civilizations. But geologists have argued convincingly that they are naturally formed concretions and that their grooves or ridges are a product of sediment laminae, growth around layers, and diagenetic alteration, not intentional inscription. The so-called rotation in a vibration-free case reported by creationist literature was later explained by ambient vibrations from mining or building activity. Thus, the Klerksdorp spheres are widely considered unremarkable geological artifacts by mainstream science. From a skeptical perspective, the default assumption must remain that the Buga sphere is terrestrial or even purely man-made or hoaxed. But many assert otherwise. Active theories about the Buga sphere and others like it. Since early 2025, when the first report circulated about the metallic Buga sphere found in Colombia, multiple hypotheses have been floated to explain its origin and anomalous behavior. One of the more dramatic proposals is that the sphere could be a non-earthly manufactured object, a probe, message carrier, or artifact from an extraterrestrial intelligence. This taps into frameworks of technosignatures, as promoted by astrophysicists such as Avi Loeb, who argue that besides biosignatures, or signs of life, we might seek physical objects or devices, or messages in a bottle of sorts, left by or sent from other civilizations. Features like seamless metal layers, internal microspheres, inscriptions or glyphs, and responses to electromagnetic or acoustic stimuli are taken as evidence that the sphere did not originate in known terrestrial manufacturing or natural geological processes. Proponents suggest that the material composition might include exotic alloys or isotopic ratios that differ from typical Earth metals. The capacity to survive atmospheric entry, if it fell from orbit or a space environment, would imply advanced engineering. However, there are important counterpoints. There is the difficulty of proving a non-natural origin conclusively. The Galileo project, launched by Avi Loeb in 2021, aims to collect open scientific data on unidentified aerial phenomena and possible non-human technological artifacts. Another plausible theory is that the object is human-made, perhaps part of a secret program, experimental aerospace hardware, defense contract research, or some form of advanced materials testing. During the Cold War, many novel materials, secret craft, and experimental technologies were developed under high secrecy, only to leak or be found later under ambiguous circumstances. If the sphere has unusual metal alloys or manufacturing methods, those features might correspond to precision engineering in high-end aerospace or defense applications, such as inertial gyros, pressure vessels, spherical fuel tanks, sensor pods, or components from satellites or reconnaissance equipment. Some industrial processes, including additive manufacturing, precise casting, and diffusion bonding, can reduce or eliminate visible seams. This theory is more mundane but carries strong plausibility. Many alleged mystery spheres or unusual metallic objects later turn out to be fragments of satellites, payload fairings, sensor housings, or space station components. Some parts of re-entry debris, or discarded aerospace hardware, can have spherical or near-spherical shapes. Composite materials may explain layered interiors and microspheres. Natural processes also produce spherical or near-spherical metallic or mineral nodules, which, at a glance, might mimic manufactured objects. A well-known category is the polymetallic nodules found on abyssal plains beneath the oceans. These nodules, composed largely of manganese, iron, hydroxides, and sometimes trace metals like nickel, copper, and cobalt, grow in concentric layers around a nucleus. Polymetallic nodules can be rounded, smooth, or rough, vary in size, have considerable porosity, and feature layered chemical composition. Another natural process is the formation of concretions in sedimentary rock, the formation of metal sulfide nodules in hydrothermal vents, or geological features shaped by pressure and mineral precipitation that yield spherical or near-spherical shapes. These natural spheres rarely have uniform internal microspheres, perfect metallic alloy layers, or inscriptions. Some theories propose that rather than being a solid physical object with exotic behavior, what witnesses see might be distorted by atmospheric refraction, light reflections, plasma phenomena, optical illusions, or even hallucination in cases of low visibility, unusual lighting, or stress. For example, one might see a spherical glint or reflection in the sky or on a distant object that appears to move or behave in response to sound or EM fields, but this could be a visual artifact. Thermal plumes or heated air can cause shimmering that seems like oscillation. Also, photographic or video artifacts, such as framerate aliasing, compression, or lens distortion, often exaggerate perceived motion, inscriptions, or surface smoothness. However, this theory does less well when there is a physical artifact recovered and subjected to lab analysis. This is the case with the Buga sphere. Given the limited yet somewhat detailed claims, such as internal microspheres, multiple metal layers, inscriptions, and EM vibration responses, the extraterrestrial artifact hypothesis is alluring. Classified tech or aerospace debris seems more plausible given human precedent, especially if any lab chemistry points to a known alloy type, or trace signatures consistent with aerospace manufacturing. So far, no single hypothesis commands consensus. But artificial intelligence can change things. Artificial intelligence and quantum analysis in UFO research. In 2023, NASA convened the UAP Independent Study Team, sometimes called WAPIST, officially formed in May 2022 and chaired by astrophysicist David Spergel, with its final report released on September 14, 2023. The NASA panel explicitly recommended that AI and machine learning be part of any future UAP data analysis framework, particularly for sifting through huge datasets, identifying rare events, filtering noise, and detecting outliers. The report stressed that these computational tools are essential, but also that they are only effective when the underlying data are well characterized, calibrated sensors, multiple measurements, proper sensor metadata, and so on. NASA did not find evidence in their study that any UAPs are extraterrestrial in origin. Their focus was on defining a roadmap for better data, not on establishing origins. Meanwhile, the Galileo project, founded by Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb in 2021, has built instruments and computational pipelines to classify aerial anomalies. Its publicly documented work includes developing a multimodal instrumentation suite that collects data across multiple EM bands and audio bands, and using algorithms for classification, outlier detection, and filtering of known classes of objects, such as birds, balloons, drones, weather phenomena, and satellites, versus unknown classes. Please don't forget subscribe.